know what you're expecting. I don't even know what I'm expecting. But here we go with DreamWorks Dragons Race to the Edge. Hey guys, this is Morgan of the Rotoscopers, and I am so excited to be here because this is my very first time doing a recap series. And this time we are going to be doing it about Dragons Race to the Edge. For those of you who are familiar, Race to the Edge is the third season in the DreamWorks Dragons TV series. It used to be on TV, but this one has debuted exclusively on Netflix, and I am so excited. So let's just get straight into it. So I'm going to be reviewing episodes 1 and 2, so if you haven't seen those yet, pause, go watch it, and then come back. Okay, so first off, I have to say that I was blown away by the animation in this series. You know, if you go back to season 1, it was good-ish, but there was a stark contrast between the TV show and the movie. And as the series has progressed, and especially in this season, that gap has narrowed. And yes, this isn't exactly theatrical quality animation, but for TV, it is very good. I found myself in awe of the animation instead of in ugh. And that is a great sign. Now, going into it, this is set 3 years after the war with the Berserkers, and so we can see that our characters have aged up a bit. So now the models are more closely like the ones we see in How to Train Your Dragon 2, which is great because I love how the characters have aged, especially Hiccup, just gotta say. So episode 1 starts off very ominously. We have Dagger, who's escaped from jail. So instead of starting straight off with Berk, and this is Berk, and we love dragons, and all that stuff, we get Dagger, which I think is a great way to set this off. There's a lot of intrigue and suspense, and we set up our villain right away. Now, he may not end up being the villain later on, we don't know yet, but at this point in time, he's been a previous villain, he's been in jail, and he escaped quite well. Then we get introduced to Hiccup, and he's flying with Toothless, and that's everything that we love. And as he's sitting there, I love that he's saying, like, man, I really gotta get my own set of wings. I just love that moment because it definitely is foreshadowing to what we see at the beginning of How to Train Your Dragon 2, where he does have his own set of wings, and they're awesome. But in the meantime, he hasn't quite figured that out yet. Another little moment that I like when there's that tour group of kids and they say, here are 2 of Berk's greatest heroes. And Stokes the Vast is there and he's like getting all ready because obviously he's chief. And then they say, Hiccup and Toothless! And he's kind of like, oh. Right, my son, he's kind of a big deal. Moving on, we get introduced to the plot point where Hiccup and Astrid, they have been searching for new dragons, and so this is kind of something that we see in How to Train Your Dragon 2, where they've gone on these quests and they're trying to explore, and we see this introduced here, which is great, but then Astrid has something to tell him. She tells him that he is joining the Berk Guard, and this kind of makes him sad because the old gang that was all together, that were the Dragon Academy that were training, they're kind of going off and doing their own things, and this makes him sad because, you know, he's still so invested in this. So it sets up a lot of great plot points that I think I'm really going to like in the rest of the series, especially these 13 episodes that we have right now. So then back to Dagger, he steals Johan's ship, Johan goes back, and then this starts, you know, a chain of events where they go after him. Then they find this new world, so this makes Hiccup extremely happy. However, they go on this one ship that's sort of an abandoned ship called the Reaper, and this ship is loaded with booby traps, and I loved this moment with the whole gang. They were all together, they all had their dragons, and they're searching for this treasure, and I just love Fish Legs when he's there and he's like, there is no greater treasure than knowledge, maps, scrolls! He's just such a nerd, and I love to him the real treasure that he found was in those maps and scrolls. You know, Fish Legs, I love him. So, towards the end of this episode, there's obviously some strife between Dagger, who is going after this dragon scroll, and Hiccup, who doesn't really know what the dragon scroll is, but since he's going for it, I want it too. So they go off, and Dagger gets it. And then the whole dragon gang, they are all sort of tied up, and Hiccup is the only one who's free, and so he has the option to go chase after Dagger. Dagger shoots a big cannonball and, you know, misses Hiccup, obviously, and Hiccup's like, ha, you missed. And Dagger says, actually, I never miss. Hiccup turns around and realizes that the Reaper has been hit by the cannonball, and now his friends who are tied up with their dragons are kind of going to drown. And that's where it ends. So going into episode 2, since I personally couldn't wait to start episode 2, let's just go right into it. There's all the suspense created from the first episode. What's he gonna do? Is he gonna go chase them, or is he gonna go, you know, capture the scroll from Dagger? And of course he does the right thing and he saves his friends first. And Dagger's like, disappointing. However, typical Hiccup. Hiccup as a protagonist is very predictable. He's going to save his friends. He's going to do the right thing. While Dagger, on the other hand, he doesn't care, and that's why it kind of puts Dagger at the upper hand. Just his personality very much reminds me of Syndrome from The Incredibles. He's just kind of haughty into himself. He knows he's really good, and so it was really funny how he basically was monologuing, and that's when Hiccup had the opportunity to steal the scroll and get away. So then they go back and they have the Dragon Eye, and they're not quite sure how to open it. And they realize, they try everything, and they realize, oh, I think we need dragon bones. We need a very particular dragon bone to open this. Great. And they discover that that particular dragon is a snow wraith, which is super rare, has never been seen by very many people, but there is one particular person who has seen it. Now, this is what I loved. I love that the person who had seen this type of dragon before was Gothi, and she's very reluctant. She doesn't want to talk about it. Something bad happened to her, but they're able to get her to open up on the situation. And it was just a funny moment when she's writing in the sand and it's getting mistranslated. However, she eventually tells the story about how when she was a young lass, although when she was going back in time, her design didn't look that much younger to me. I was like, you look kind of the same, but maybe that was just me. We go back in time through this story and we learn that she went to, she was very adventurous and she was a go-getter and did all these amazing things. And she went out and she discovered this new area that had a snow wraith. And the snow wraith is so quick and fast and it blends in and it camouflages. No one can see it. It's actually really horrible and dangerous because it ate her two friends that were with her, and luckily she was able to escape. And so that's why she's not really interested in going back, because she knows the damage that this dragon can do. However, they convince her to go, they go back, and this kind of wraps up the episode. I really loved, how the snow wraith could detect heat, and so they're able to confuse the ring wraith? Whoa, that would be crazy if a ring wraith appeared. They're able to confuse the snow wraith by fire and all these things. They finally just give up because it's too hard, we can't do it, we have to go back. And Hiccup's really upset because he really wants to open this scroll. And so finally they kind of call it quits and they're like, dang, it sucks we didn't get that bone. But they did, because Gothi saved the day. There was one point where she was able to hit the snow wraith with her staff and fight it off, and in the process get a hold of one of those perfectly shaped teeth to open the scroll. So that is where episodes 1 and 2 left us, and I am very satisfied with where this season is going. One thing I love is that it doesn't seem to be very episodic. It seems that we are setting it up for a lot more adventures and story that we're gonna see progress through the whole season. I recently went back and watched season 1 and was kind of disappointed in how very episodic it was. We would do something, find a dragon, and then it would end. And then the next episode we'd go and we'd have to do this, and then it would end. And it seemed like episodes were very contained in one episode, and the story, while there was slight narrative that progressed it, it wasn't overarching, and I don't get that feeling with this season, which makes me excited. I love series where the drama and the narrative is able to unfold over the course, very much like Legend of Korra and Avatar: The Last Airbender. Those were great series that did that well. I already mentioned the characters. I love seeing these characters. I love their designs. This series, I was not distracted by the animation at all. Instead, I was able to focus on the characters and the story is great. I'm interested to see what this scroll is all about, what it's going to lead us to, and more. I like that we have our villain established at the very beginning. Dagger, is he going to stay a villain? Is he not? Is he going to be a nice guy? Probably not, but you never know. Plus so many cool new dragons. I think it was great that they introduced the snow wraith in these very first 2 episodes, because we love dragons. That's the whole reason we watched this series. And so just to see new dragons be unfolded in the very beginning was awesome. And especially how our team was able to fight back against a new dragon with a new skill set that they had never seen before. So that is all I have. Guys, I want to hear what you thought about the first 2 episodes of Race to the Edge. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What was your favorite scene and favorite part? And definitely subscribe. I'm going to be doing these for every single episode. We're going to drip them over about 3 weeks. So we're going to do about 4 episodes a week. So for this week, for next week, the week after that. Okay guys, let me know what you thought. What would you like to hear in my future episode recaps? Are there things you'd like me to focus on more, less, whatnot? Let me know. This is my first time doing it and I'm really excited. Okay guys, until next time, I'm Morgan. This is the Rotoscopers YouTube.